Ahead of the Ukraine war completing 1 year, Russian President Vladimir Putin delivered his annual State of the Nation address. Now, the speech came a day after US President Joe Biden dropped in at Kyiv. The main focus of the speech was on the war in Ukraine, the impact of sanctions of Russian economy.
Те, кто планировали новую атаку на Донецк, на Донбасс, на Луганск, четко понимали, что следующая цель.
So the Russian president launched an all-out attack on West, blaming them for the escalation of the Ukraine conflict. He said the West has put the very existence of Russian Federation at risk.
Элиты Запада не скрывают своей цели – нанести России, как они говорят, это прямая речь, стратегическое поражение России. Что это значит? Для нас что это такое? Это значит покончить с нами раз и навсегда. То есть они намерены перевести локальный конфликт в фазу глобального противостояния.
Putin lashed out at the West for what he called their dictation of values. He also called out their superiority complex and looking down on other people.
Привыкли плевать на весь мир. Оказалось, что также пренебрежительно, по-господски они относятся и к народам своих собственных стран. Их-то они ведь тоже цинично обманули баснями или обманывали баснями о поиске мира, о приверженности резолюциям Совета Безопасности ООН по Донбассу.
Putin also lashed out at the West for their sanctions on Russia. He said the sanctions have failed for one and are hurting their own economies for another.
Как я уже сказал, Запад развернул против нас не только военный, информационный, но и экономический фронт. Но нигде ничего не добился и не добьется. Более того, инициаторы санкций наказывают сами себя. Спровоцировали в собственных странах рост цен, потерю рабочих мест, закрытие предприятий, энергетический кризис. А своим гражданам говорят...
Ahead of the Ukraine war completing 1 year, Russian President Vladimir Putin delivered his annual State of the Nation address. The speech came a day after US President Joe Biden dropped in at Kyiv. Now, Joe Biden's visit to Ukraine was unannounced. It was kept a secret. He was essentially expected to land in Poland. As per his schedule, he was still in the White House. But just hours before he was about to reach Kiev, a message was sent to Russia that the US president will be on Ukrainian soil. Now, Biden's visit to Ukraine is being seen as a sign of solidarity, at least from US side, that they stand firm with Ukraine as Ukraine and Russia are about to enter year 2 of their conflict. Biden said that this is a clear sign of democracy, that democracy stands, Ukraine stands, even after 1 year. If we were to look at how Russia has perceived it, for them it is clear that it is US who is behind the continuing of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Barely 24 hours after Biden's visit, President Putin made his address in Russia. The main focus of the speech was on the war in Ukraine and the impact of sanctions of Russian economy. He has condemned the US in as many words, calling them the reason for the continuing of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Had it not been for the US, there would not have been a war this long. This has been Russia's stance since the beginning. There has not been any new development in terms of their theme or their sentiment towards the US. There have also been claims from Putin that US is actually going against Russia in as many words. The Russian president launched an all-out attack on West, blaming them for the escalation of the Ukraine conflict. He said the West has put the very existence of the Russian Federation at risk. There have been federal reports claiming that what had happened once with USSR is a sentiment being felt by the Russian side once again in this day and age. Biden's visit to Ukraine is being considered as a sign of further escalation of matters from sides which align themselves with Russia. As Biden visited Ukraine, there were reports coming in of China's top diplomat Wang Yi visiting Russia. So there is a possible coalition happening between Russia and China, even though they do not have a lot of common ground, but when it comes to the US, that is fertile common ground for both Russia and China. Iran, on the other side, also made a visit or has been growing its ties with China, on the other hand. Ibrahim Raisi was in China recently to further strengthen ties between Iran and China.